for your one-year anniversary. That's a very special occasion. And I must say I'm a bit surprised to see so many people here on, such a new Zen group. And I was just thinking, before I'll get to your questions in a moment, I just wanted to share with you, it conjured up some memories of my own teacher, Zen Master Seung Sahn. And I'm not sure how many of you know anything about him or his story, but it was kind of interesting. He was a Zen master in Korea, and he was quite prominent as a young man. He was famous in Japan, he was famous in Korea. He, throngs of people knew who he was, and they would bow to him, and there was all this sort of thing. And he had heard, this was about, I'd say 40 years ago. No, maybe 30 years ago. He had heard about all of these Western people who were interested in finding out, what am I? What is my true self? And that was around the time of the hippies and everything. And there was a big revolution going on in this country. And, he had a good, comfortable situation over there, but he felt like, everything was kind of all set and several thousand years old, and he wanted to do something different, and he wanted to come to teach these young Western people about the Dharma, about what we were talking about earlier. So he gets on an airplane, and he comes over here. He's got no money, and one or two people know who he is in the United States, and he's, for whatever reason, he settled in Providence, Rhode Island at Brown University. And there was a professor there who sort of knew who he was and helped him out a little bit. And so he didn't have a job, so he became he worked in a laundromat repairing washing machines. So here's this famous Zen master coming over with a complete don't-know mind to this country, doesn't know the language, doesn't know anything about the country, never been here, and his direction is just, I want to give the Dharma to the West, And actually, I think several other teachers were coming at that time from other countries and other traditions as well for similar purposes. So there he is in the laundromat, and a few students from Brown University, their religion professor, said, you better get your ass down there in the laundromat. There's a Zen master over there fixing the washing machines. And so slowly, these students came, and through some miraculous, non-use of language, he was able to start to communicate with these people, the first students. And then he got everybody to come to his little apartment, and he started out slow. And he's like, anybody want some noodle soup? And he gave them noodle soup. And then he was like, anybody want to try a little chanting? And so they were like, okay, this guy makes good noodles and he gives us kimchi, and yeah, we'll try a little chanting. We tried a little chanting, and then he got everybody to sit for a little bit, and then pretty soon he introduced bowing, and that was a bit of a shock for people. Doing 108 bows going up and down. And then 35 years later, there's probably 100+ groups all over the world doing exactly the same thing we're doing here, just in that tradition. And all these other teachers from other countries were doing that too. So it's kind of the ripple effect that really impresses me and is very touching to me. So you start out with one person in Plymouth, and one person who's good enough to let everyone use the space, and slow, you get this collective energy of people who are trying to wake up, people who are making their direction clear. And this ripple effect then goes out from all of us to more and more people. And that helps this planet. There's 6 billion people on the planet, 6 billion people plus now. Of the 6 billion people on the planet, how many people are really devoting much time and energy to finding their true self? Well, his son's name used to say, Betty Pew. Very few. So what you're doing here is important, and the support of having each other to sit with really makes it easier to sit, because if you try to sit at home alone, it's just so easy to get up and or to sleep in, or to not do it, or whatever. But if you're in a group like this, then you support one another, and that ripple effect just goes out and out and out. And I think about Seung Sahn in that laundromat, and what happened from that, and it's just absolutely staggering. The thousands and thousands of people have learned something very, very important.